Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video we're going to make that Xtreme Motorbikes game that we were making. It's actually a game from the Play Store. Let me show you real quick which one it is. So it's this game right here. I was working on it before, but I did switch computers, so I lost this project as well. So we're just going to start it kind of over and we'll just get started. And the assets that I'm using it for this project is going to be the SimplePoly City low poly assets, and it's by VenCreations. And there's also Futuristic Soldier Sci-Fi Character by Alex Makes 3D. And there's also the motorcycle, and I'll bring you back when I find it. So the last asset would be called Brat. It's by Artistic Mechanics, and this is the motorcycle. Let's go over here to the project. Now this is the town. When you download it and you get this project right here, I actually went to the demo and I just opened up the demo, and then I ended up renaming it to Xtreme Motorbikes Clone, but you guys can name it whatever you want. If you do use that demo scene, it's gonna have all these game objects just pretty much scattered around. So what I did is I created an empty game object, named it City, zeroed out the transform, and I dragged everything into that City game object. So let's just get started. Now I do have a prefab here, but I'm not gonna use that prefab. I'm gonna actually kind of do it from scratch. So I'm gonna go to prefabs, I'm going to go to sets, and then there's Brat's stand down. So you can see there's the stand is down, or you could do this one, which the stand is up, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna drag this in. I'm gonna rotate this to 90, and I'm gonna bring it up just a bit so it's on top of this concrete. Now I'm gonna add a rigid body. So this is what gives it the physics, what gives it gravity, all that. So with that rigid body, we're gonna leave it as it is, and then I'm gonna add a box collider, and you'll see in a little bit what the box collider is for. Now I'm gonna hit the Z, and then I'm gonna go back over here, and I'm gonna click this left so I can see it like that, and then I'm just gonna move or hit edit collider and move it just underneath these tires, extend it so it has some kind of collision, and I'll bring it up just to the handlebars. The reason I'm doing it like this is because the mesh collider or any other collider, you would have to do each single part, which you can do if you have time, but since we are trying to do short videos here, I'm gonna do it like that, and it pretty much works the same. The only difference is that you won't be able to collide, let's say, with the headlight, but if you guys have played the game, you really don't collide with the headlight or anything like that. The only thing you would really collide with is, let's say, your wheels and stuff like that. That's what kind of makes you crash in the game. So we're gonna click on this Z or Z, and then we're gonna just adjust it to where it fits kind of the handlebars. Could even have handlebars sticking out a bit, and that's it for that. Now for the character that we're gonna add to the motorcycle, we're gonna go back to our folder, and it is under Futuristic Soldier. We're going to go to the mesh because we actually need the mesh, and we are going to grab this mesh. This is just the stuff I did when I was doing the tutorial, but you should just have one of them. Actually, let's delete this. So there's this Futuristic Soldier. We're going to drag it in and go to Mixamo, and before I even do that, I would upload character. So now I have the upload character clicked on. I'll drag it in. I'll drag in the mesh. Gonna process, and the reason we are doing this is because we're gonna have a sitting animation. You could also, let's say, drag in the mesh and adjust the feet, adjust the arms, all that how you would want, but I think it would be much simpler if we just get a straight sitting animation. So here's our character, and then since I have a character over here already, it's just saying if I want to proceed with the next character, especially because the previous character will not be saved. So I'm just gonna put next because I don't mind, and then I'm gonna search right here for sitting. So there's a bunch of sitting ones. The one I'm gonna get is maybe something like this, so it looks like he's sitting on a motorcycle. And the character arm space, I will drag it up maybe to say something like that, 75 or even 80. Then I'll just put download FBX binary. The format, I'm actually gonna put FBX for Unity, and then I'm gonna put with skin. And if you guys seen that tutorial of GTA, I did it without skin because we just wanted the straight animation, but this one we want the actual skin and the animation, which as you can see, it's not really playing anything, it's just character sitting. So we'll drag this in, put it in any folder you want. I'm just gonna put it where our mesh is at. Then I'm gonna drag him into the actual motorcycle, and let me rename this to motorcycle so we can kind of see. So when this project gets a little bigger, we have it all, we can see the different names. I'm gonna right click on motorcycle, I'm gonna go to prefab, and I'm gonna put unpack completely. That way it's no longer a prefab, and I could adjust it accordingly. And now for this soldier, we're gonna also put it to 90, well, negative 90 degrees. So there there he is. And if you see, he is a little big. So what you could do is go to your model and change the size right here. So let's say we put 0.5 and hit apply, or you're actually supposed to do that before, but you could also just change the scale right here. Let me adjust him to where he's actually sitting, and then it kind of looks evened out right there. Now to add the actual material, we could just go to the materials and just drag it in. So we have 3 different materials. I'm going to use this red one, and that's all you got to do. Now we do got to do a little bit of adjustments to like the feet and stuff. So we'll go to root, we'll go to, let's say, thigh, and if we rotate it, we can see it actually rotates. So this is not going to be exactly perfect because I am trying to do this as quickly as possible. But if we move this around, and later on you guys could, you know, play around with it, see how you guys actually like your model to be. But for this, I'm going to pretty much try to do this quickly as possible, and then I'll bring you guys back. So I got the legs. Now I'm going to go to the feet, to the hands, which should be in the spine area. Down on these spines, there's left shoulder, right shoulder. I'm going to go to where it says arm stretch, and you can see that it actually rotates kind of like the whole shoulder area. And go to like arm twist, and where there's the spine, you could also spine 1, you could also adjust it so kind of leans forward a bit. Pretty much just got to play with all these and to get it a little right. You might have to even scale his arm. As you can see, I'm scaling it out a bit on the y-axis, and then you just rotate it, and you would do the same thing for the other arm, and same thing with the rotation. Just rotate it where you would like. Okay, so I got mine kind of set up like this. See, his arm is a little different. Let's see. Yeah, just mess around with that. Once you're happy with your results, you know, changing everything, let's continue with this video. Now, with all that done, we are gonna add a camera if you don't have a camera, like I don't right now. So I'm gonna add the camera right where the motorcycle is. So I'm gonna create and go to camera, drag this camera up, push it back, rotate it to -90. Then if I go to my game, I could adjust it from here, however you would like your camera to be. Also going to rotate it a bit down, maybe like that, and that should be good for now. And in the game, there's also different like camera settings, and we will get to that as well. So now with the camera and everything set up, we will also create an empty game object on our motorcycle. So click on the motorcycle, right click, go to create empty, and we're going to name this front end. Now we're really not going to use this right now, but this will be for a later video. It will be useful. That way when we churn, our motorcycle will also look like it's churning. So the ones we are going to drag in is going to be the headlights. It's going to be the front axle. So headlights, control and click. Front axle, the front right brake caliper, the front mudguard, the classic right front suspension, the front brakes, the front brakes, classic front tire, classic left front suspension, the bobber front rim, bobber steering, and the front left brake caliper. We're gonna drag all that into the camera. Now into the front end, my bad. So now if we go to our scene and change the perspective, and we rotate this, we'll see that it actually churns. And if we go to our game and we also rotate it, we can see that our bike looks like it's churning. But like I said, that's going to be for a later video. Now, with all that, we are going to add our canvas for our buttons. The first one we're going to do is the gas button. So in a previous video, I did mention this. On our canvas, we're going to put overlay, and we're going to canvas scaler. We're going to put UI scale mode to scale with screen size. We're going to change it to the screen size that we are choosing. So you could change it to different portraits, all that, but the one I'm using is for my phone. It is going to be 1600. Now if you have a different size phone, just click add, go to fixed resolution, and add the resolution of your phone, and type in the resolution of your phone here. As you can see, this is the reference resolution, so it just depends on what resolution you are using for your game. Now I'm going to put 720, and I'm going to put 0.5 on the match width and height. So now we're going to add a button, and this button we are going to click right here where it says center middle, and we're going to click shift and alt and click this right corner right here, so it's right and bottom, and it's going to move our button to the right bottom. Now we're just going to drag this up a bit, move it over to the left a bit, and we are going to change the sprite to a knob. Later on we're going to make our UI look a little more pretty, but for now we're just going to keep it like that. I'm going to put it at 200 and 180 for the width and the height. Now I did download some images, and these images, if I'm correct, it is from I think it's called Free Icons. Yeah, I think it's from Free Icons. Let me see. Yeah, it's from here. So these are the images. You just go to freeicons.io, click free, and you'll see all the free images you want. So this is like for the brakes. This is the image I used right here. That's where I got it. Same with this one right here, which says it's a belt, but I'm using it as a gas pedal for now. So if I go to text, I'm gonna erase it. I'm gonna delete the text, and then I'm gonna actually right click on button, go to UI, and click image. Then I'm gonna drag in this belt. Now, when you do drag this into your project, make sure it is on Sprite 2D and UI, and that it is single mode or Sprite mode single. After that, just hit apply and it should work. And then on the image, you just drag it into our source image. And then for our button, we're gonna rename it to acceleration button. Then we're gonna add a script on this. So we're gonna name it acceleration button as well. And then we're gonna open it up in Visual Studio, and make sure that the script is on your actual button for this code to work, because I'm gonna do a little something different. So it does have to be on your buttons for this to work. Now we're gonna delete these, and we're gonna be using Unity Engine.Event Systems. And then right here on the mono behavior, we're gonna add a comma. We're gonna put I pointer down handler and I pointer up handler. Now we're gonna get these errors. The way you could fix it real easy is just right click on them, put quick actions and refactoring, and then put implement interface. Same with the other one, implement interface, and now we don't have any error. Now I am going to drag these up because I kind of like these being above. We don't really need the start, so I'm gonna delete the start. We're just gonna have the update, the on pointer down and on pointer up. So what we're first gonna do is add a float, and it's gonna be a serialized float or serialized field float. Then we're gonna put max speed, and the max speed I'm gonna put it to 50, and then we're gonna put a comma, and we're also gonna add a acceleration, and we're gonna make it equal to 1f. But later on you guys could play with these values how you would like. Then we're gonna add a serialized field. We're gonna put rigid body. This is gonna be the motorcycle's rigid body, so you could put motorcycle RB just so you know that it's the motorcycles. And then we're gonna add a bool. This boolean is just gonna say is accelerating, so we know when it's actually accelerated and not. So on the on pointer down, we're gonna put x is accelerating is gonna equal true, and then on the on pointer up is accelerating equals false. Then on the update, we're gonna put if is accelerating. So if we are pushing the button, we're gonna put float current speed gonna be equal to rb.velocity or motorcycles rb.velocity dot magnitude. And then we're gonna put float target speed is gonna be equal to max speed. So as you can see, our max speed is 50, so it's only gonna be able to get to 50. Now we're gonna put current speed equals mathf.lerp. So this is just a way of going between two values in a certain amount of time. And we're gonna put current speed. So we're gonna go between the current speed to the target speed, and we're gonna put time dot delta time multiplied by the acceleration. So we want it to get from the current speed to the target speed depending on how much it is getting accelerated by. Hopefully that makes sense. And then we're gonna put RB or motorcycles RB dot velocity. It's gonna be equal to transform dot forward times the current speed. And that's pretty much it for that. So, and then we're gonna put else if we're not holding the button down, so is accelerating is false. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add a float, and we're gonna put current speed. It's gonna equal to motorcycle RB dot velocity dot magnitude, like we did up above. And the current speed and the target speed, we're pretty much gonna copy all this right here, so let's just copy it after that. But right here on mathf.lerp, we're gonna go from current speed to 0. So since we are not accelerating, we're actually gonna be decelerating. So let's say we're going 40, we want it to slowly go to 0 multiplied by the acceleration. And then after that, we're gonna put rb.velocity and then transform.forward multiplied by current speed. So pretty much, hopefully you guys understood this part. It's just if you're accelerating, we want it to go from current speed to the target speed depending on how fast the acceleration is. And then we want the motorcycle's rigid body to go in the forward direction multiplied by this current speed. Same thing with the deceleration. If we are not pushing the button, so if we're not accelerating, we want it to go from the current speed to 0 depending on the acceleration. And then we'll just multiply that current speed by forward. So let's say it eventually gets to 0. down, this current speed will be 0 and it will not move the rigid body. That should be it. Now the thing I wanted to mention is for this to work, since we do have our box collider on our motorcycle, since we do have that box collider, you do have to make sure that the city has collisions as well. So this one right here, so let's say I click on this tile right here, which is this part of the road. Now if I right click it and I go to prefab and I put open asset in context, or you could also put open prefab in isolation. So you could either have it where you see the whole city or where you're just separate, like in a different scene view, and you would have to add all these box colliders. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason I have 5 is because I have one for the actual road itself, and since the road is flatter than this concrete, I have to make sure that the box collider is below the concrete. If not, the bike will look like it's not really getting affected by the concrete, or it will look like it's floating on the road, depending on the way you drive or the way you have your colliders. So you just got to make sure that each collider is kind of set accordingly. If not, it will look a little weird. So like I said, I have one for this road, which pretty much ends up right here. So this is the road. Then I have another one for this little piece of sidewalk right here. See if I grab it. Yeah, so for this piece of this crosswalk, I have another one. This one's actually the same one of the road. I have another one for this sidewalk right here. So this is the sidewalk, and as you can see, the box collider, I don't know if you can really see it, but it does have a little height to it. If I go to this road, it doesn't have a height. It's kind of flat onto the road. Same with the crosswalk. Now there's also another collider for this sidewalk, and it does have also like a lip or a little height to it. And then I have one last one right here. So you do have to do that, and you would have to do that for each piece of material that you do have. So I did it for this one, and I think I did it for this one. Well, actually I didn't do it for this one, but I did flatten it out because it's usually raised up a bit. Yeah, see, it's usually like the opposite way, like raised this way. So I did flatten it out a bit, but yeah, you would have to do that for each one. I just did it for the first one so we could see how it does get affected by the sidewalk, and then the rest I just left it pretty much flat. See, this one does have a lip, and I'll show you what I mean when we get to it, that you do have to flatten it out. If not, your character will stop. Let me just bring that down. So that one's flat, and that one's flat, that one's flat. And when you're testing it, you do got to make sure it's flat. If not, you are going to crash into an invisible wall pretty much, or you're going to end up going sideways or whatever. So we're going to see that on this one we don't have it, and we'll just test it out just so you guys can see. Now I'm going to click play, and everything should work. So we also got to remember to assign our stuff. So on motorcycle RB, we're going to assign the motorcycle because it does have the rigid body on this motorcycle game object, and now it should work. So we're gonna hit play. So if we take off, you can see it kind of like bounced a bit, and if we go, it's working. Now on the second one is where the kind of invisible wall is. So if I see, I'm stuck now, and that's the reason that you have to make sure everything is flat. Now you will crash or whatever like that. Now I'm just gonna hold it. Sometimes you'll actually go over it, but other times you'll flip or whatever. So like, let's say I'm just holding it, so you can see how it did go through it, but it does look like I'm hitting speed bumps, and that's something that we wouldn't want unless our ground or our road is a little bumpy or whatever. But other than that, we really don't want that, because especially when, like me, when I was going slow the first time, I just ran right into it and I was just stuck there. I'm gonna show you how the colliders work when going off the sidewalk. So if I click it little by little, you can see that it actually does go down. If you see it kind of flip back, the first time it was kind of leaning a bit. That's probably because my colliders weren't set correctly. Like you see, my collider's probably not set correctly on my sidewalk and stuff. That's why I keep leaning back. But that's also kind of realistic, because if there's somebody sitting on the back part of the motorcycle, it's gonna just sit back down, especially if you're heavy. But you can see that the collider is working how it's kind of supposed to be, and maybe the tire's up, but that's also because the tire's down over here. So yeah, and that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you found this video useful. The next one, we will probably add the brakes. Actually, let me show you. Well, you guys kind of seen how it decelerated, but let's kind of speed it up and then let go of the button. Oh, there you go. See, there was a collider not set right. Let's try to speed it up a bit and then try to decelerate. So you can see it speeds up, decelerates, and yeah. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys learned something new, hit that like button. Also, if you guys seen something in the video that might have looked a little weird or that you might want to see that I kind of missed or whatever, just let me know in the comments below. I try to get everything that I want to show in the video, but there's some things that just because I'm speeding up the video that I might not catch, or I might not see that it looks a little funky, a little weird. But of course, this is a work in progress of the project, so it's not going to stay like this forever. We are going to be adding more features. We are going to make sure that the colliders and everything work accordingly, but just let me know in the comments below. That way I kind of have a list of the stuff that I might have missed, especially when you guys are talking about the acceleration. Maybe there's something that didn't look right or anything. Just let me know in the comments down below, and hit that subscribe button if you want to continue to see more videos like this. I am going to go between Grand Theft Auto and this game. The Grand Theft Auto is a mobile version. Hit that bell icon if you want to get notified as soon as I post a video, like that GTA one or this one. And if you guys want to see something else, I will try to make time for everything, but just let me know in the comments down below. And also just remember that I do have a job. For example, I just got off maybe 2 hours before I started recording this video. I did have some errands to run, so I did start using my computer maybe an hour ago. So my schedule's kind of tight, but I will always try to make videos for you guys, always try to have some time for you guys, but just understand that it might take a little bit, and I am sorry for that. But I do have to work, I do have other things in life to do, but I will do my best to make videos as quick as possible and as soon as possible. If you guys like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and once again, thank you guys.